This is the normal distribution applet in Achieve, and I wanted to give you a quick tour of sort of how it works. What it's showing you is a normal distribution, and with a mean of 0 that's set as a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. And the default when I first open it up here the standard deviation is set to 5. So that when you look in that interval from 0 to 5 or from -5 to 5, it's showing you that you've got that approximately 68% of your values are within that one standard deviation of the mean. And we've talked about how the 68, 95, 99.7 rule works a little bit, that you'd expect to see 68% in there. Now what you can do with this applet is you can move things around and drag the values. So if I go to as close as I can get to 10 here, there's 10 on that side and 10 on that side, I've got roughly 95% within that 2 standard deviation range. This applet is set with the standard deviation at 5 right now. And so what this applet is going to ask you to do, these questions are going to ask you to do, is to play around with these endpoints and try to read off values that it says here. Okay, this first one says we want to find the value for which approximately 5% of the area under the normal curve lies to the right of that value. Okay, so I'm looking to the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this point as far to the right as I possibly can. And then I'm going to move this one, move the left-hand edge over here. And so what I'm looking at, so if I stop right here, I've got 16% of the values are above, it looks like 4.8 in there. And so what I'm trying to do is trying to find the point where I get 5% of the values. So I'm looking for 0.05, or as close as I can to 0.05. Whoop, right in there somewhere. 8.2 seems pretty close. 8.2, maybe 8.3. Can I get to 8.3? 8.25? Oh, too far. 8.35 is too much. 8.225 is a little bit too small. So somewhere around 8.2 is roughly where we get 5% in that upper tail value there. And so that's what the kind of questions are asking you to do in this one, is to play around with those borders, and either you're trying to capture some percentage, trying to find out what value that percentage is, or sometimes it's going to give you a percentage and say, okay, where is that value on the x-axis? And this is telling us that if we go on the x-axis to 8.25, we're going to get about 5%, 8.2 or 8.25, we're going to get about 5% of the area up there. I think it'll take, yeah, it likes 8.2. It might also like 8.25. Let me try that. Can I redo that a question? Show question. No, it's not going to let me redo it. Oh, actually, maybe it will. Nope, it's going to let me. I got it right, so I can't do it again. But you can play around with that sort of thing. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So question 2, again, the mean is set to 0. Standard deviation is set to 5. You're just going to say, what's going to happen if you change the mean to 50 instead of having the mean at 0? What happens if you change the mean to 50? What's that going to do to the graph? All right. So just some questions to think about the normal distribution. How does the mean do it? How does the mean not do that? Can we change the mean on here? No, it looks like the mean and standard deviation are fixed at 0 and at 5. But if you're doing something with a mean of 50 and a standard deviation of 5, let's kind of think about that and think how is that going to change the graph? Again, the standard deviation is a spread, so the spread is going to stay the same. It's just that where that center is going to be at 50 instead. So That would be sort of thing. So it's just kind of play around with the numbers. You can move these sliders around, move these points around to find proportions in your value there, and so that's kind of what you have to do, is slide these around to the left and to the right. Oh, it doesn't make it negative. That's weird. I would think it would make negative when you move the bigger one smaller than the smaller one, but I guess it must be auto correcting for that. All right, so play around with it. If you have questions, be sure to ask. All right.